into position. We'll see if he chooses to make that an orbital or a planetary fortress. With this base being tucked so far in the back, you could easily make this one an orbital command, and if you're really worried about counterattacks, you can always just throw up another command center here and make that a planetary. But it looks like the Karen is getting ready to secure that gold, as he does not have a command center ready to go there, but soon he should. Meanwhile, it looks like we do have a small SCV transfer coming from the main, as the main did get harassed by those Mutalisks, and a lot of those Mutalisks did get taken out. And let's see if he chooses to transfer those to the new base or just resend. I would probably send like 3 or 4 back to the old base, and I would send the transferring all of his workers up to that very, very unmined base. Probably not the best solution for that, as there are quite a lot of SCVs there. As you can see, we've got close to 48 SCVs now on these small mineral patches. It's definitely going to want to have to transfer some of those back down here to this base and transfer to this base as well, and morphing that third into a planetary fortress. Like I said, probably not the best use of a planetary fortress, just because this base is least likely to get attacked by ground units, as they do have to make their way through those destructible rocks. Meanwhile, Terran taking a central position on the middle of the map. Huge force of Zerglings and Roaches and a Mutalisk here and there, as well as the rest of the Mutalisk force is up here to the north, and saving some Marines back home so he can deal with that Mutalisk harassment. No aerial units yet being produced, except for we have the one medevac out right now. And starting to push in on that creep just a little bit, see if he decides to scan to pull some of that back. We do have quite a few Mutalisks out here, but with this Marines and these Thor, they should be able to protect the siege tanks quite well. But a lot of Hydralisks on the map as well, with +1/+1. Upgrades for the Zerglings. Where's the Zergling? Just the one armor, it looks like. I don't see any other upgrades for the ground units. Where did all those Zerglings go? There was a whole bunch of Zerglings. Perhaps they got taken out. Looks like, yes, we just do have the Hydras and the Mutalisks out right now. Roaches 1-1. Lots of Roaches there. And it looks like this Hydra army is now getting shelled by those siege tanks. Roach is choosing to burrow to heal some of that siege tank shell fire damage. There's the Zerglings. Yep, there's still 0-1. And getting some more Queens in production right now. Sending in a few Zerglings just to scout out this army. Now choosing to send in the entire Zerg arsenal. Siege tanks doing quite a bit of splash damage to this army, but it looks like the Zerg force is just going to be too great. And we'll check the supply counts after this battle. We've got Pig at 150, CeleryMan down to 125. Thor is having to retreat just so they don't get sniped off by all these units. Is going to want to continue to move those Thors back, as they are quickly going to get taken out. Just don't let that... Oh, Thor taken down with wasted damage. Getting lots of splash damage done on those Mutalisks. Another Thor gets taken out. 146 to 115. Third Thor gets taken down, and that's all she wrote for those Thors. Meanwhile, the Zerg army is getting, or Terran army is hopping into those bunkers just where it's safest. Zerg is currently looking for those third bases. Meanwhile, getting 3 more barracks is queued up down here in the southern position. Main base is starting to get close to mined out here. Zerg main base is completely mined out. Third and fourth bases are completely saturated, as well as having that gold expansion going as well. So the Zerg's economy is really starting to get picked up. Meanwhile, we've got a starport with a tech lab, starport with a reactor, not really producing any units, has no guys in that gas, 1 guy in that gas, 1 guy in that gas, 2 guys in that gas. So really his mineral to gas ratio is really starting to suffer here. 3 guys in that gas, 3 guys in that gas, and the Zerg army is getting ready to push up here into this base. Like I said before, you definitely want to get like a siege tank or, you know, some kind of defense on these rocks just to keep this kind of opening from happening, as the Zerglings are going to get in here and do lots of damage to these buildings as they are slowly being produced. But luckily this planetary fortress should be able to take out this number of Zerglings quite handily. Meanwhile, we have the huge Mutalisk ball coming in, and the Mutalisks will be able to do quite a significant amount of damage. Only 3 missile turrets here. Against those mutas, they should be able... This many mutas, those missile turrets should be able to do just fine, especially if you get some repairing in. But with the Zerglings, it's going to be very, very close. 153 to 168 currently, so we're definitely going to be seeing some kind of macro play and getting a second set of Mutalisks to engage here. We do have a small contingent of Marines pushing out here, doing as much damage as possible, taking out some of those creep tumors, keeping an eye on all these different units moving around here. We've got Mutalisks to the north, Mutalisks to the south, Zerglings breaking down some rocks. Terran army sitting in the middle of the map with siege tanks. Siege tanks on watchtowers are awesome because then they can shoot as far as they can see. Meanwhile, medevacs and marines now pushing out to see if they get that creep tumor in time, sniping some more creep tumors. See if he wants to elevate her up into the main or if he's just comfortable sitting on the low ground. And it looks like he does choose to elevate some units up there. Medevac is full of army, and that medevac is going to get taken out with a full set of marines inside. That is not good for the Terran army. That is a lot of supply to lose at once. Meanwhile, Terran army is headed down here. Looks like those Mutalisks did take quite a bit of damage. Now the Zerglings are going to get chased out of here. Lots of marines here getting a nice surround on those siege tanks, but looks like he was more interested in the refinery than he was the Terran army. And with that channel being opened up, that's definitely going to cause a damper on the Terran's play. He's going to want to take this base here and possibly put up a couple of PFs right up here in this choke just to keep units from these bases. You can easily protect those bottom 3 bases with a couple planetary fortresses, even as far as up here. Get some missile turrets to cover from the back and then just use those as mining bases. Meanwhile, these marines are getting taken out quite handily by the Roach and Hydra army, currently 1-1. If we look at the Bio army for the Terran, they're also currently 1-1. And if we look at the Mech army for the Terran, 0-1 right now. And then let's see, we'll switch over to the income tab. Both players relatively even on income, 64 harvesters to 63, close to about 2,000 minerals a minute. But if you look at the Terran's gas, he is suffering quite a bit, losing a lot of his forces up here. And this refinery did get taken out as well as these last SCVs. There's about 225 minerals left in this patch. These 2 patches, but this gas does have 600 gas and this one still has 1200, but neither one of these are being mined, so the Terran player is going to be suffering in his tech just from the fact that he does not have those. Roaches now have burrowed movement speed and they're going to pop up right on top of these siege tanks and do massive amounts of damage. Luckily he gets a scan off and starts shelling away on those roaches, and it looks like a lot of these roaches are going to get taken out now. Moving up into the siege tanks, and it looks like he will get this cleaned up quite handily. 168 to 136 currently. 2 Vikings are on the field, but they are getting picked off by those Hydralisks, and those Vikings did not do that much damage. One Marine, a couple Marines just striding out to the middle of the map. Those Marines are going to get taken out. No, forced to retreat with those Marines. Meanwhile, Mutalisks flying in again and meeting a handful of Marines. Why he's got the Marauders up here to deal with Mutalisks, no idea, but definitely should run those to the rest of his army. And now taking that gold base, but definitely wants to get that morphed into a planetary fortress. And how is it your gold? Oh! That's pretty sweet. Practice. Nice. Alright, we do have a Nidus network in play. Let's see where he decides to use that Nidus network at. Don't see anything popping up just yet. Does have the center of the map taken, and now Ultralisks on the field. We've got Ultras. We've got amazing 5 more Ultras in production, as well as getting the chitinous plating. These Ultras are going to rip through everything. Definitely need to get some attack upgrades on those bad boys, but we do have the Terran army moving out. He will spot those Ultras. Ooh, might not even see the Ultralisks, as it looks like this small there he goes, getting a scan now, sees those Ultralisks, and oh, definitely saying he's way better than gold. CeleryMan is definitely going to be pushing in here and doing not much damage. I think he's going to get pretty well taken out by this army. Definitely does not have the tech advantage, and I think not having that gas is definitely going to hurt him in these battles. Medevac flying out of there and does barely get picked off here, and it looks like this Zerg army is ready to just move in for the kill. 48 more Zerglings now in production, as we do have these roaches streaming in here, getting attacked by this one lonely siege tank. 135 supply currently for the Terran player, wondering where the rest of his army is. There's a handful of units there. Siege tank up here gets picked off by those mutas. There's a lot of units everywhere for the Terran player, but not a lot right where it counts, where this army is. Trying to kite against those Ultralisks as best as possible, but Ultralisks with their 500 health just rip through everything, taking down buildings left and right, and this is definitely going to be GG for our Terran player very, very soon. And there he goes, GGing out of that game. Hope you enjoyed this cast. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe to my channel down below. Working on getting live streaming set up so you guys can watch me play live. I am a random player, and yeah, thank you very much, and enjoy your day.